Poštovani gledatelji, dobra vam večer. Vi gledate još jedno izdanje emisije S povodom. Ovoga puta zaista trebate ostati s nama. U goste nam je došla jedna izuzetno zanimljiva osoba, možemo slobodno kazati svjetska žena, humanitarka i još puno toga. Idemo je odmah predstaviti. S nama je danas u studiju NAŠA TV. Ja se nadam da će ovo dobro izgovoriti. Gospođa Milona de Rambures.
Oui.
Jesam dobro izgovorio?
Jest.
Odlično, hvala. Prije nego što krenemo u ovaj mali razgovor, prije nego što krenemo vidjeti kako je tekao vaš zanimljiv život, idemo pogledati jedan mali uvodni prilog.
Život nije matematika, niti se uvijek vodi logikom koja je nama prihvatljiva. Tako je u neočekivanom smjeru odveo i Milonu de Rambures, kćer Jozefa Arpada Austrijskog, možda poznatiju pod svojim obiteljskim prezimenom von Habsburg. Bez obzira na kraljevsko podrijetlo, život je Milonu i njezine roditelje prisilio na mijenjanje različitih zemalja da bi na kraju došlo u malo hercegovačko mjesto Međugorje, koje je imalo i najveći utjecaj na nju.
Dakle, Milonu von Habsburg poznao sam više od 20 godina već. Dakle, 1991., 1992., 1993. posebno kad sam bio u Međugorju župni vikar ili kapelan, a ona je tada pomagala u župnom uredu, u stvari pomagala Fraslavku Barboriću, s njime putovala i prevodila zato što ona zna 7 i mešćini više jezika. Tako je, a inače voli Međugorje i na taj način je sada i ostala u Međugorju i radi veliko djelo pomažući djeci diljem svijeta kroz Marijine obroke.
Milona je trenutačno najviše aktivna kroz udrugu Marijini obroci, koja se bori protiv gladi u mnogim zemljama svijeta. O poniznosti i vrijednosti svakog života učila je i od svojih roditelja, ali i kroz godine rada s fra Slavkom Barbarićem i ostalim vrijednim ljudima iz Međugorja.
Pa mislim, dakle, ja s Milonom sam se susretao tijekom ovih godina, tada smo čak išli u školu, dakle, ona je došla o činjenju dobra za vrijeme rata. Poslije sam s njom prolazio jedan u nekim župama. Naravno, u početku ljudi misle kad čuju Milona von Habsburg, kraljevska obitelj, loza, a kad se susretnu s njom vide da je to vrlo jedna jednostavna, otvorena i vesela osoba. Nekako ne mogu ljudi vjerovati da je to sa princeza kad dođu s njom u susret. Međutim, mislim da je ona zbilja stvarno vrlo jednostavna, vrlo otvorena za sve susrete, a osobito za pomoć socijalnog djelovanja.
Nekada se čini kao da je s pokojnim Otom von Habsburgom prestao i vidljiv društveni angažman ove loze, ali na pozitivnom primjeru Milone vidimo da nije tako. Bosnu i Hercegovinu smatra drugom domovinom zbog osobnih i povijesnih događaja koji su je obilježili. Danas su Habsburgovci rasuti širom svijeta, od Amerike do Europe, te se bave različitim poslovima i interesima.
Dakle, nikad nešto posebno. Možda smo najviše ovdje razgovarali kad je dobila prije godinu više nagradu Večernjeg lista, pečat, tako u povodu 100 godina početka rata, ili ipak je to njezina rodbina koja je stradala u Sarajevu, ali nikada ona nije baš isticala da je iz koje obitelji, što je zadnji put kad smo razgovarali rekla da će doći da obiđemo stari most i tepih koji je Franjo Josip darovao ovdje u Mostaru. Tako da nekad se otvore te emocije, međutim to nije apsolutno njoj nikakav prioritet da se poziva na takvo nešto, nego ona baš djeluje iz duše i svoje vjere.
Možda više nego životno iskustvo i obrazovanje oduševljava njezina jednostavnost i pristupačnost. Milona zna da svaki javni nastup može uroditi dobrim darovima među ljudima. Ne sumnjamo da će tako biti i ovoga puta.
Evo, naš uvodni prilog je završio. Idemo vas sada i upoznati za naše gledatelje koji se sada sigurno pitaju odakle vi ovdje u našem studiju. A da bi to saznali, moramo se prvo malo pozabaviti vašom zanimljivom biografijom, vašim životom koji vas je doveo u Međugorje još prije nego što sam se ja osobno bio rodio. Pa kažite nam što vas je dovelo u Međugorje prije svega nekih davnih godina 80-ih.
Yeah, well, I speak in English, so we understand each other easy. I came in 1984 for the 3rd anniversary of the apparitions of Međugorje, and I felt a very deep calling in my heart because I felt that the lady that I knew from Fatima in Portugal was saying, well, she was there, she was waiting, and she was there, and I had to go. And so I went. I went in a kind of an obedience in my heart. And there I had a total change of life in 3 days of pilgrimage. And that's how I started to come to Međugorje in 1984. And for 1 year, I came every month with new people, with different situations. And for 1 year, every month, one chapter of my life was closed and a new one opened. So it was a real change of life, of thought, of aim, of purpose that happened in 1 year. And then I began working, assisting Father Slavko and the parish house. And it lasted until 1996. No, so it lasted, I didn't know that. It was
Govorimo
all...
o pokojnom fra Slavku Barbariću koji je naravno djelovao u Međugorju, a i šire. Kakav je osjećaj bio kada ste prvi put došli u Međugorje? Vi ste saznali naravno da postoje ukazanja, da hodočasnici dolaze. Jeste li imali unaprijed neko mišljenje o tome mjestu ili je u vama jednostavno nešto govorilo, tražili ste svoje odgovore u životu?
I had heard about Međugorje in 1983 at Christmas, and I thought we don't need Međugorje, we have Fatima. And I had a little sort of, we don't need, we have everything we need. Until the moment when my heart began to change. And then I knew I had to go. And I had not read anything, I had not looked at the concrete happenings, I just knew I had to go. And I went with cousins who organized 2 buses, 1 bus from Germany, 1 bus from Austria. And we arrived on, I think it was the 24th of June, 1984, we arrived at the church. And I had, you see, I had gone to Fatima all my life, so I knew pilgrimage places, but I hadn't thought about it. I just knew I had to go. And then everything happened in the church and on the hills. Everything was so simple, so silent, so straightforward. And many of us had a life-changing experience there. But I hadn't many thoughts before. No, I met the reality as it was.
Da.
And I was just following a call, really. And I knew she was there. That was...
Mi u uvodu emisije nismo kazali vaše rođeno prezime, von Habsburg,
Habsburg, yeah.
a u ovim krajevima to naravno poznato zvuči. To je stara loza Habsburga. Kako su na vas ljudi gledali u Međugorju? To je tada bilo zaista malo selo hercegovačko. Jesu na vas gledali kao neku osobu koja je samo tu došla turistički ili su vam zaista prenijeli sve ono što inače prenose ljudima, taj neki duhovni mir koji izvire iz Međugorja?
Yeah. Well, in the beginning, I did not meet many people from the village because they were very silent. They were praying and in their houses. And we were sitting in a tent in the woods, so I didn't go into the houses. And then during the year, I started meeting people, and I never spoke about my name. It was never a topic, because whomever we met, it was always about the beauty of what was happening in Međugorje. So my name, my history, all that didn't matter in the beginning. And it didn't matter, I never spoke about it. Others knew, they told me much later. And I didn't know that they spoke about me because I was only praying and working, you know, with Father Slavko. So I never was a topic. I was only learning how to serve the pilgrims and the people, assisting a priest. So my own life was never a topic with people. And they met me through Father Slavko. And what they think of me, I don't know. I have never asked them. Those who are friends, and the others I don't know. This is something I can discover. I don't know.
Moramo vas pitati, na kojem jeziku ste razgovarali sa fra Slavkom koji također zna više jezika?
Yes, on je znao. He spoke German with me because he had studied in Germany and in Austria, so he knew German very well. And when I used to, with him in German, and when we used to work together, he used to speak German or Italian, and I used to translate into French, into English, into whatever was necessary. But our personal language was German.
Koliko jezika govorite?
7.
7 jezika?
Da.
Španjolski, portugalski, francuski, njemački, hrvatski. Mislim da sam dobro zapamtio. I engleski.
I engleski, da. To je to.
Idemo se malo vratiti na vaš život prije Međugorja. Gdje ste točno živjeli? Kakvim životom ste živjeli? Jeste odgojeni u kršćanskom duhu? Jeste rasli kao mlada djevojka kršćanski?
Yes, I was. I was born in Munich in 1958, a long time ago. And I grew up partly in Switzerland. I did my primary school in Switzerland, kindergarten in French, German, primary school. And then we came back to Munich. And then I stayed for 3 years, and then I went to England to boarding school, because changing countries makes you change school systems, and that's very difficult, because you learn things in a different way in each country and language. And then my parents are they prayed. We went to Mass always on Sunday. And my father is a man of deep faith, and so is my mother. And my father is a refugee from the Second World War from Hungary. So he found his peace in Fatima in Portugal. And he always wanted us to find that same peace. And he knew, he was, I think, 12 when he had to leave Hungary. And he always said, well, he didn't speak much, but other people told us that when he arrived in Portugal as a little boy, he had lost everything. And Fatima kept him sane. You know, as a refugee, you go through a lot. And so he wanted us to find that same peace. And he did. He gave us Fatima. And that's why we were always brought up in the Catholic faith, always praying. But again, it was new. In Međugorje, everything became totally new. Although everything was there, everything changed in Međugorje. For my whole family. My whole family changed to Međugorje. We grew in new dimensions, I would say, of our Catholic faith. Yeah.
I bili ste sretni?
Yes, very.
Novim otkrićima?
Oh my goodness, yes. You mean sretni with Međugorje?
Da.
Oh boy, yes, totally. Yes, because it gave us, I don't know, as in Međugorje, nothing new is being said, but we believe that the Mother of Jesus appears. We believe the Queen of Peace is there. We have no reason not to believe it. Therefore, everything becomes actuel. I don't know how to say that in English.
Da.
It becomes real. It becomes more alive. And everything we thought as normal becomes wow.
Vidite na svom osobnom primjeru takve stvari.
Very much, yeah.
Da pojasnimo malo također gledateljima kako ste se nastanili u Međugorju. Vi ste trenutno većinu godine provodite u Međugorju, ako se ne varamo.
So I left Međugorje in 1996 when I got married. And then my husband said, I think we should go back, because we met during the war in 1993. And he came to bring aid, and I was already here. I stayed here.
Za vrijeme rata ste bili tu?
Yes, yes. Oh, yes. I wanted to stay. I didn't want to go away, because I believed that I had to be here and fast and pray. And I didn't. Where should I go? And go crazy somewhere else? I wanted to be here. I couldn't, you know. And so my husband came with a French group of people. He's French, to bring aid to the refugees in the war. And so when we got married in 1996, we went to Paris, and then we lived abroad. But we always came as pilgrims all the time, as much as we could. And then about maybe 9 years ago, he said we should go back to where we met and where we received everything. Because in truth, our life has been given to us through Međugorje, through the spirituality, through the presence of Our Lady. And so from then on, we have different things that we do that grow out of that, I would say. My husband is ambassador today for the Order of Malta in Bosnia and Herzegovina, so he's developing work to help the poor and the suffering. And I work for Mary's Meals, which is a fruit of Međugorje. So it's always Međugorje there. We can't...
Nešto vas je vuklo stalno u Međugorje.
Yes, very much so.
Je li vam problem s jedne strane bio živjeti u Međugorju nakon svih tih velikih gradova, Minhen, Pariz i ostale? Kakav je život u maloj sredini? Je li vam fali možda neki veliki grad?
No, it doesn't. Life is the same everywhere, I think. Cultures are different. Sometimes you have certain, I would say, habits and traditions maybe differ. But human beings are the same. No matter where we go, I find that personally. And where there is love, it's good. And where there is hatred, anger, betrayal, it's not good. And that is always the same. Because even, I would say maybe in a big city, you can become more anonymous. In a small village, you can't. People will always think that they know what you do. But even when you're in a big city, if you have a circle of friends, it becomes a village again. So therefore, your circle of friends will do the same. Therefore, I think human relationships are the same everywhere, really, in the end. I come because I went in the whole world, and I went from every type from the castles to the huts in Africa to the slum in Haiti. human relationships are the same everywhere. Where there is love, where there is forgiveness, where there is peace, it's good, no matter where. Where there is masks and there is lies, it's not good, wherever it is.
Ljudi svugdje isto traže.
Yes. We are made, I believe, we are made by one God, and we go for one thing, and that is we need peace and we need love, and that's the same everywhere, no matter where we are.
I kada vas ovako netko pita koja je vaša domovina, što vi kažete? Je li vaša domovina Europa, svijet ili nešto drugo?
You know, I'm the daughter of a refugee, so certain roots are not there. My mother is half German, half Italian, and when I was young, I wanted to belong to a country. I wanted to be part of a folkloric tradition. I wanted to have roots in a country. And slowly I learned that this wasn't our path. We had to live differently. And today I would say, my daughter says, Mommy, where is home? Home is where mom and dad are. Home is where the family is. And my brothers and sisters live in many countries. We are married to many nations. We have a very colorful family. And so I think, for me personally, Herzegovina is the place I spent the most time in, which is the closest to home that I could imagine in this world is here, Herzegovina. And then I feel I'm a pilgrim in this world. So I really believe I pass through, and my definite home will be one day somewhere else. I believe that is my real truth in my life. Yeah, I feel that.
Ovdje u Međugorje, je li dolazi vaša rodbina, relatives, je li vas posjećuju u Međugorju iz svih krajeva svijeta da vide?
Yes, very much so. They come on pilgrimage. We have a family reunion on every New Year, where brothers come, cousins come, nephews come. Last New Year we were 40 people, and that's only one small part. They come very much so on pilgrimage, yes. And it has changed, you know. And the fact that we are here means that my family cannot forget that Međugorje exists, because we send the messages and they know we are here. So I would say we are very close. We have become closer through Međugorje. Although we are geographically separated, we are very close to each other. And that is part of what we learned through her, through the presence and the prayer and everything.
Kada gledate Međugorje, ono prije kad ste tek došli 80-ih godina i danas 2016. Je li se puno toga promijenilo ili ipak nije? Je li to ona stara priča da ljudi dolaze tražiti svoj mir i sreću kao što ste vi i da pronalaze i danas kao i onda?
Yes, they do. I would say physically it has changed, because you have many houses and hotels that weren't there before. But today, this morning, I met a group of French people. Everybody was new in the group. They were here for the first time. Yesterday, I met a German group. 80% was new, had never been here. People come for the first time today, and they receive how open they are, how much they receive. It's like always. The only thing that I could say, maybe there are more distractions, because you can do many things that you couldn't do before. Before there was nothing, so you could walk in the heat and go to the hills. And now you have many cafés, many shops, many communities, and you can do things that maybe can become a distraction if you don't watch it. But if there's a good guide, he will show you that the simplicity of Međugorje is what you need to open up and to find. And then, yes, and people find peace, very much so. They say that. They say, they go, what is here, you know, peace. They feel that.
Znači može u Međugorju živjeti i ovaj duhovni dio i turistički.
Yes, you have to. It's a choice. You can live in Međugorje and lose everything. You can be busy, busy, busy. That would be a huge mistake, I think, terrible. Especially as a foreigner, when you come, you must really decide to live the peace, the prayer every day. When you're born here, maybe it's different, I don't know. I came as a pilgrim and I remain a pilgrim, so I have to really choose it every day. Otherwise, I would have to leave, because I couldn't. It would be wrong to become a business person.
Da.
You know, it would be wrong. I couldn't. So I do business, I work, but I pray every day.
I tako iz dana u dan kada razgovarate s turistima, hodočasnicima, kazali ste iz Njemačke, Francuske, Italije, i pričate im onako svoju priču, je li netko dođe na ideju da također kao i vi ostane živjeti u Međugorju? Ima li još takvih ljudi ili ste vi jedini?
Well, many people have bought houses, apartments in Međugorje. They spend a lot of time.
Da?
They do, yeah. Many. I haven't met anybody who Yes, I have. I know I have friends who are from Ireland and they got married to men in Međugorje. So we have, many. Many have come to stay there, yes, many.
Znači, Međugorje postaje mala Europa.
Yes, very much. Mala svijet, I would say.
Mali svijet.
Yes, because people come from everywhere, yeah. They really do.
Možemo se malo vratiti i do vašega rada u Međugorju. Tu su naravno Marijini obroci, koji su, možemo slobodno kazati, i povod ovome razgovoru. Za one koji ne znaju, pojasnite nam što su točno Marijini obroci i kako ste se vi to uključili.
Okay. So it's called Mary's Meals in English.
Da.
And it's the story of a Scottish family. They came in 1983 on pilgrimage and changed life as well, the whole family.
MacFarlane Barrow.
Yes, exactly. Magnus MacFarlane Barrow and his parents, everybody came. He's got 4 brothers and sisters. So all the children came and everybody came and changed their life as well completely. And they had a hotel and they changed the hotel into a family house of prayer, meaning, a family house of prayer, like a retreat house. And people go there and they come to pray. It's like a mini Međugorje there in the hills. And Magnus grew up in that spirit. And so, as we all love the country here, and when the war started, everybody was really concerned and worried. And he began to help, to bring aid to the refugees in 1992 with 1 lorry, camion, jedan. And
On je sam to pokrenuo?
Yeah, on his sam. I think with a friend. There were always two, because it was many borders, complicated journey.
Ali nije bila organizacija, nego privatna
samo
inicijativa.
Jedan kamion. Yeah, no organization yet. It came later. And then when he gave the help, he drove home and he thought, well, good, over. And the garage, the baraka was full of stuff. So the second camion and the second lorry. And then he did back and forth and back and forth. And he started to do only that for a long while. And when the help in Herzegovina changed, when his help wasn't so necessary anymore, so urgent, new projects came, and they were Romania and Liberia. And then in the year 2002, there was a very big famine, where there was hunger in Malawi. And Malawi is a very poor country in Southeast Africa. And there is again Međugorje. There's a lady who has a Međugorje center in Malawi, in Africa, and she's a pilot. She's lovely. She's called Gay Russell. And as a pilot, she brought the message to all the African countries that she was going to Tanzania, to South Africa, Johannesburg, and so. And Magnus went to visit her through the Međugorje connection, and she showed him a village with a family. And in that family, one of the most important parts of Mary's Meals happened. And it was the answer of a young boy who was 14 years old. And Magnus met the family. The mother was dying. The father was already dead from AIDS. And the oldest boy was Edward. He's called Edward today. And he spoke with him and he said, Edward, what are your ambitions in life? What are your dreams? And Edward said, I would like to have enough to eat and go to school one day. And Magnus said, my children dream of much more, because school and food is normal. No. And remember yesterday, or the day before yesterday, the Holy Father said, you young people, you must dream. And when you can't dream, your life is over, because you need to be able to dream. And that boy could only dream of food and maybe school. And that, Magnus was so touched by that, because he's a father. And he started to discover the world of the chronically hungry children. There are 300 million, and 59 million never go to school because the hunger makes it impossible to learn. You lose every strength and you just survive. And therefore, the idea was born to bring food in schools. But it had to be, the local people had to be responsible and do it.
Ko je pomogao Magnusu da to ostvari? Ko je se priključio?
First of all, a group of people in Africa, in Malawi, they spoke with the schools. And the schools said, we want that. We will organize the mothers. So the mothers cook. There's a rotation of all the mothers who cook every day. And then Magnus went home and he spoke to the people who were already helping him, the donors who were helping him since the first lorry, since Bosnia-Herzegovina, since Liberia, Romania. He said one thing that I think very important. He said, with the first lorry began the story of the goodness of people. I speak in the name of the poor, and the people help me to help. And that is how he continued. When the hunger was there, he started to speak. And it started, and people respond. And today, from at the time 200 children, today over 1 million receive the food every day in 12 countries. Today, over 1 million children
Vidjeli smo i knjigu i dokumentarni film koji je čak nagrađen. Naši gledatelji to naravno se mogu potražiti da dobiju bolji uvid kako je sve to skupa išlo. Jel mislite da čovjek jednostavno treba djelovati? Kada razmišljamo, ne možemo riješiti čarobnim štapićem glad u Africi, ali krećemo od jednog djeteta pa ćemo pokušati pomoći drugome i ljudi će vidjeti naš primjer i to će rasti.
That's how it goes. It's the only way. And I think John Paul II, Mother Teresa said, if you can't feed 100, feed one. Just do one. And it doesn't have to be Mary's meals. It can be one act of love, whatever you do, because in the end, many things happen because of selfishness, because of greed. You know, and if we change our lives, it has many effects, much more than we think. Our life is really important.
Možda najteži prvi korak. Nešto ću početi, pa ako vidimo da djeluje, onda je to puno bolje.
To go out of your comfort zone, like we say in English.
Kažete nam, razumijemo. Kažete nam koja je vaša uloga u Marijinim obrocima? Kako ste se vi tamo priključili?
I started in 2004 and Magnus asked me to go and tell the story of the children and tell how the children live and that there is one way to help, because there are many things that are needed, but there is one way to help relieve the hunger. And so I did. I started to just simply tell them what I had experienced and discovered, and people responded. Incredible. And it became international. And today there are many countries where people have registered the charity and have a contract with Marijini obroci in Italy, in Germany, in Portugal, in Spain, everywhere. And they fundraise, they make events, many children do events in schools and gather money and send it to Scotland or to the schools in Malawi directly, depending on the country. And it grows. It's just unbelievable, the response. And what I believe is Mary's meals is very simple and very honest. You know, it's transparent. And therefore people trust that what they give will arrive. It's not expensive. People are not afraid. It's €14.50 for 1 year, 1 school year. A child will eat. So it's not scary. You don't
znači, za cijenu jednoga, primjerice sakoa, dijete može cijelu godinu jesti.
€14.50, da. 14,50 je.
To je baš da čovjek razmisli. Kažete nam još ovako, je li postoji neki sljedeći plan što se tiče Marijinih obroka? Širenje u druge zemlje ili možda neka jača akcija u drugom smjeru?
I'm not sure. I think we have a new film that just came out called Generation Hope. The film is going into the festival of Cannes, for example, and festival in Ethiopia and in different film festivals. So we see the dynamic is growing. So more and more people will know about it. We need to strengthen the structure. It needs to grow, slowly but surely become strong and grow, and children are waiting, so more children need to be fed. But Magnus always says, we don't look for big numbers, we look for the next child, the next school, the next child.
Magnus se nije umorio, vi se niste još umorili.
Ne, nikada.
Kažete nam, ljudi ovdje u Hercegovini, u Međugorju i okolnim mjestima, jesu zainteresirani pomoći na takav način? Ili su onako skeptični više prema tome?
Well, I think they're not. I think not. I think they help. They're already helping. Yes, the schools are helping the people. Many local people in Bosnia and Herzegovina, in Međugorje, and also from other cities in your country, they help. But they need to be sure that the money doesn't get lost.
Da, to je uvijek pitanje.
They need to trust, and we need to prove that we are trustworthy. So when they see that the money goes somewhere, and we have schools that are being fed only by what we got through Međugorje and Bosnia and Herzegovina, and the schools have a sign that says the donor is Friends of Mary's Meals, Bosnia and Herzegovina, and we have the name on the schools in Malawi and in Liberia, then people know their money goes there. And it's the proof. And I think it's very important that people don't feel that they're being betrayed. No. Trust is something very difficult to gain and very easy to lose. Very easy to lose. And it's difficult to get it again when you've lost it, because people feel hurt. and it's very hard. And this is our big work always, to make sure that we never lie and that we don't invent things, that it's only we say what is true and what happens. So I see people see it's beautiful. And also, you know, we always speak about Bosnia and Herzegovina because that's where it all started. So people start to say, where? We say Bosnia and Herzegovina in the war. Tell me more about it. And then we speak about the country, we speak about Međugorje. Sometimes we don't because they're not Catholics. But the country, it makes the country alive in people's minds. So I like that very much. I think it's great. Yeah.
Dakle, istina je uvijek dobra.
Yes.
U svakom smislu.
Yes, I think so.
Kažete nam, od kuda dolazi hrana za tu djecu? Priprema se baš tu ili ide negdje iz daljih krajeva, iz Europe?
The food is being bought locally. It's the local economy that gets a benefit. And in some countries we have to import certain things, like Liberia and Haiti, maybe we have to import rice because there's not enough. But otherwise, as much as possible, local. Locally bought food, locally prepared, and the mothers, and where there are no mothers, the women of the area cook personally in the schools, and they cook the food that they like. It's their food, it's their program, it's their project, it's their children and their food.
I jel vam se netko javi, recimo, od te djece nakon par godina koje je uspio u životu, školovao se, možda i dobio neki posao, pa se javi Marijinim obrocima i pokaže, evo vidite, hvala vam gdje sam sada. Ima li takvih primjera?
We have that. It's lovely. The new film called Generation Hope is about those. We have a few examples. One is working for Mary's Meals now. He's responsible. Another girl is studying for business and law. A boy has become a singer. And they speak that Mary's Meals, the one meal, made it possible for them. They now say that. And they're grown-ups now. Yeah. And we have a film with them. Yeah.
Da se malo vratimo i još na to siromaštvo. Postoji li neko rješenje u tim državama koje će omogućiti, koje će biti trajno, da tako kažemo? Je li to obrazovanje? Ljudi koji idu u školu u tim zemljama, djeca, mogu li oni pokrenuti nešto kasnije u svojoj zajednici da bi smanjili to siromaštvo?
The idea is education. Because when you have education, you learn how to live differently, how to use resources differently. You learn how to, you live better normally. When you're educated, you have many solutions, many ideas. And of course, it would be ideal if we didn't have to exist. It's a scandal that we have to exist, and it's a privilege. It's both. And so it would be wonderful if the countries could take over and do it themselves and see the value of their children and invest in the food for their children in schools. It takes time because I think it needs a mind change to see the importance of childhood, of education, and of the freedom it brings. That's, you know, and so I think the children who have received it, they know something because they feel that their life matters, that they are important to somebody, and they feel that they've been seen by people whom they didn't know. And we say to them, your life is very important, so they grow up with an awareness that they matter to somebody.
Opet se vraćamo na ono izvorno što smo govorili na početku o Međugorju. Svaki čovjek traži isto, pored fizičkih potreba, traži onih par duhovnih, da ima društvo, da bude prihvaćen, voljen i tako dalje.
That is exactly the point. And that's why I believe it's a fruit, Paolo, because it gives that, it makes everybody very, very precious and important. It matters.
Koja mjesta u svijetu danas najviše trebaju našu pomoć? Obično se sjetimo Afrike, ali vidimo danas ima i mnogo drugih krajeva pogođenih ratom i ne samo ratom, nego mnoge zemlje su siromašne, a ne znamo da su siromašne. Gdje ste vi sve bili po svijetu?
Oh, I've been, well, we feed in India, we feed in Myanmar, we feed in Burma, we feed in many different countries. I have been to South Sudan, I have been to Haiti in the slum, I've been to Kenya, to Malawi, Liberia, I've been there. Many places. Because the chronic hunger is 300 million children. It's many children in many countries. And it's silent. You see, it's not emergency situations. It's on top. We now have all the Syrian situation and all the refugees in South Sudan is in the war again. So we have more and more, because of war. But you have this silent war, which is the chronic hunger. I wouldn't know where the most. I think wherever there's a hungry child, it's needed.
Ljudi u tim zemljama koji su gladni, kako oni gledaju na to? Je li krive nekoga? Kakav je njihov pogled na bogate zapadne zemlje? Je li uopće pričaju o tome?
No, they haven't. Because the ones that I have met, they were just happy to meet. Just, they said to me, for example, because I've seen your face, I will not lose hope. And that makes you feel very small because it's a responsibility.
No.
Yeah. So they never spoke to me how bad anybody else is. They're just very relieved that somebody loves their children and that somebody wants to help them to have children growing up and not dying of hunger.
Malo treba za sreću.
Yes. Truth.
Kažite nam još ovako, srećete li ljude loših namjera kada je u pitanju vaš rad?
Well, some have said, why do you do that?
Da.
Somebody has
Zašto gubite
asked
vrijeme, netko pita možda.
Yeah. They say, well, if they have a bad life, just let it be. Why does it worry you? And one person asked me once, he said, what makes you do that? Why do you think that you owe it to the people? And I reflected and I thought, there's only one reason, the only reason, it's love. Because I believe that when we love humanity, love is what we owe. And if somebody's hungry, we owe them food. It's very simple, I think. So finished, you know. And people don't always agree.
No.
They sometimes prefer people to have no children. As you know, because Mother Teresa said, if you say there are too many children, you say there are too many flowers. You know?
Jeste li takav stav prema životu, tako viđenje života stekli kroz godine u Međugorju ili ste bili iz djetinjstva tako odgajani u svojoj obitelji, okrenuti prema pomoći drugima?
My parents, we are 7 children at home, and my parents always helped other people, and we have received help. So I know that helping is normal. It's normal. We have to. Because my father was a refugee, he received help in Portugal, and on the way to Portugal, he lived in Portugal after as a refugee, and a family gave them their house. So he said he's grateful until today. He has a relationship with that family. So he taught us that, not by words, but by example. He told us they gave us a possibility to live, and we knew that. And therefore, gratitude is part of it. And therefore, it's very normal to do the same when you have the possibility.
Vaše ime, kada kažemo Habsburg, je li vam to u životu stvaralo probleme ili vam je ipak otvaralo mnoga vrata, pa evo konkretno i ovim akcijama pomoći?
Both.
Logično.
Both. Because some people think, ooh, Habsburg, you know, fascist, I don't know what, everything. I've heard everything. Some people go, ooh, kaiserliche Hoheit. You know, they think I'm this wonderful, incredible princess. I'm not. I didn't choose to be born there. It just happened. And when I grew up, I thought, gosh, what a burden, you know. And then but you know where I got a very new beginning was here in Herzegovina, because I met some very old Franciscan priests.
No.
And they told me all the good that the Habsburgs had done here. Although there were foreigners again dominating, but he said they opened up new life for the Catholics here. And I thought, good. Oof, something good was happening also, you know, because others told me many bad things. And I always loved my family because Kaiser Franz Josef and Sissi are my great-great-grandparents. And when you are a descendant, you love them by nature. And then historians will give you their opinion. And according to political coloring, they will give you different opinions. And you just sit with that, you know.
Mi smo ovdje na televiziji. Kako vi gledate na ulogu medija? Evo recimo i kroz Marijine obroke i kroz sve ostale humanitarne akcije. Jesu li tu mediji samo onako površni da pokriju svoje vrijeme ili zaista medijska promocija nešto znači?
I understand from Marijini obroci that it matters. It's necessary because they can bring a very good mix of things, you know. They can bring pictures, they can bring it close to people, what actually happens. And thanks to the media, like for example, Magnus was a hero of CNN some years ago.
No.
And that helped immensely because people learned about it. And even today, people speak about that. And then he met Jerry Butler, for example, who's a very nice guy. And I think it brings the problem out, and also it shows that something good is possible. And through the media, we can learn all the good things that are happening that we may not know otherwise, because the people in the media go and find the good things and show them. So therefore, they can do the bad and they can do the good. But I think we need to show people all the good that's happening, because we know all the bad anyway, you know. So I think the media are very important. I really do believe so. Yeah.
Još malo o životu u Međugorju. Jel vam nedostaje Slavko Barbarić? Mnogi ljudi osobno kažu da ga se rado sjete i da im nedostaje.
Yes, many people miss him very much. I was with him 11 years, and every day, and I worked really hard. So I know what I learned, and I know what I must do. So in some moments I miss him. I wish I could phone him, you know, and get a little phone call with him and sit down with him and chat about a few things. Otherwise, I don't miss him, because I know what he's doing. I know he's praying. I know he's alive, and I know that he knows what I'm doing, and I have to do it. So in that sense, and I go to his grave, and I pray at his grave, and I ask him for help for things, or that I understand a few things better. And otherwise, I don't know. I'm happy that he's where he is now. It's good for him. It's great, because he's free.
Svoj život je proživio lijepo i korisno.
Oh yes, he has a full life. He was a servant who only wanted to serve. He said that to me one day. He said, I want nothing else. I want to write what I know and to serve. And that's what he did. That's what I learned with him, is to serve.
I sada vas možemo pitati što ste naučili od Slavka Barbarića, što vam je najviše nekako ostalo u sjećanju, možda neki događaj, neka njegova rečenica?
Yes, he said never to be afraid of being tired. Because he was like a candle, you know. He burnt everything. And he said, you must not be afraid to be tired, because you can always rest. But he said, I want to die tired. I don't want to die rested. And he said, we have one life. And he said, every evening when he went to sleep, the day was gone. And he woke up in the morning, and he never had the burden of yesterday or the fear of tomorrow. He was always living now. And that's why he could see so many things and do so many things in one day.
Da, svakome je dano dosta njegove nevolje. Vi ste također dobili jednu nagradu. Dobio je naravno Magnus Berov za svoj rad. Dobio je film dokumentarni koji govori o Marijinim obrocima, a vi ste dobili, ako se ne varam, Večernjakovu nagradu 2014. godine.
That was, I think, for the beginning of the First World War. That was there. And yes, it was very beautiful. It was an amazing evening, because the people who organized that, they wanted to sort of make a step for peace, to show that people who have a kind of
Dobili ste nagradu za mir, je li tako? Nagrada za mir je bila s Večernjakove strane.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, za mir. For Međugorje, obviously, for Mary's meals. And then they found this young man called Gavrilo Mile Princip, who is of the family of the man who shot Franz Ferdinand in Sarajevo. And we were together on the stage.
Da, jedna zanimljiva priča, upoznali ste se.
Yeah, we met that night, and we both had decided for peace, everybody in his own way. And it was very nice. I really was happy, because it's a history that is here in the country. No. You know, who would have thought and planned this business, my goodness. And so it was beautiful for me to do that. I was really touched by that.
Kažete nam malo, kako su vam kazali, su li kazali gospođo Milona, dođite upoznat nekoga ili kako je to bilo?
Yeah, it was the beginning of the evening. We were sitting with the Franciscans and the different clerics in the bench with my colleagues also, Bojana and Rosie. And we sat, and there came the big man, and they said, hello, this is Gavrilo Mile Princip. And we just said hi and shook hands, and then took a picture together and said, that's cool. That's a good moment. And then he went up to the microphone later, and he called me, and he gave me the prize for peace. It was very nice, I must say, really nice. And he's a nice man. So therefore, it was just a good moment, you know. And sometimes you need to do that, because you need to make a stop of hatred and a stop of war, and enough. And
može iskoristiti neki nesretni događaj iz prošlosti za nešto bolje u budućnosti.
Yes, reconciliation and peace. We have to. It's not possible. War has never brought anything good anywhere, ever. It's always wrong.
No, uvijek se vraćamo manje više na isto.
I know, it's a pain. It's like that.
I vaš današnji život u Međugorju, kada smo već krenuli razgovarati o ovim sitnim, konkretnim ljudskim događajima i stvarima, s kim se družite u Međugorju? Imate li puno prijatelja lokalnih tu, naših Hercegovaca?
Yes, lovely. We have neighbors, very nice neighbors, and then friends along the road, and then in the village. You know, it's now 32 years, so many have known me when I was young, and many were much younger than me, so I get to know them now. Yes, they're very friendly with me, very, very friendly, yeah. They're very good to me, I think, and very good to my family. Yeah.
Sada netko razmišlja, vi ste iz Kraljevske Loze, navikli ste na neke možda velike gozbe. Kako vam je hercegovačka hrana?
Oh, super, it's great, delicious. I love
Svugdje na stolu obilno.
Yes, you know, they have all the good things that I love, that I always go for. It's when I go to a restaurant or somewhere, I always take what's daily. So I love the sarma and everything, all these things. Yes, punjene paprike, all that.
Jeste naučili praviti možda vi sarmu osobno?
Malo, ja učim. I continue to learn slowly because it's not easy. Huh? It's really, and the cakes you make and everything is amazing. I love the food, as you can see.
Da. Da se još malo vratimo na vaš rad u Međugorju. Planirate li vi osobno možda neku akciju pokrenuti za koju i ne znamo?
That I start my own work? There are so many needs and so many things that are necessary that I'm thinking about it all the time. And I help personally. I do. I do. I speak with people and there are situations where then I decide to do my own little things, but not big like Mary's meals. It would be small.
No.
Yeah, I do that, yes. Very personal. But I just have to, you know, it will develop. I'm learning a lot through Mary's meals, and who knows, one day. But there are many people who do a lot of good, and I would say I help those who do good, and I go with them to have a look, and then slowly.
Neki ljudi kažu da nemaju posebnog uzora u životu, neki kažu da imaju kao role model. Jel vi imate svoj uzor u životu?
The role model?
Da.
I would say I love people who do good things to others anyway. And so, well, Magnus is somebody I started following his way of working because it really did give me a lot. It continues to do so. Father Slavko, definitely. And then I say people of goodwill. You know, people of goodwill are always the ones that you can count on and that when they're honest. Otherwise, I think we have to become ourselves. And we have to try to be, like, not an example, because but we have to be who we are supposed to become. And what I learn from Our Lady in Međugorje, that God has a plan for every life. And if a person goes with God, he becomes a beautiful thing for others. And I've met many people like that, many, 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 who do a lot of good in a silent way and live very good lives. And so I look at them and I watch and I learn.
Evo, živite nam već dugo ovdje u Bosni i Hercegovini. Pratite li možda neke domaće aktualnosti, društvenu stvarnost, političku stvarnost?
I listen
Da.
a lot. I listen, but as I'm still a foreigner, I learn. I listen, I try to understand. I know people across the country. I have some friends in different cities and I listen a lot.
Putujete li po Bosni i Hercegovini cijelo?
I do. I go to Sarajevo and I go to different... I've just received some invitations to go to Nova Bila and to Tuzla. And I do. Yes. And I will more.
Kada gledate ovu državu, jel vidite Bosnu i Hercegovinu kao dio Europske unije? Vaš otac je bio na čelu Pan-Europske unije, ili tako?
Yes.
On je vjerovao u tu ideju zajedničke Europe.
Yes, I think it has to be in the right way. This is the thing. There is Europe and there is Europe. And I believe in the closeness of the populations, yes, because we all have an identity and we need to be close to each other and work together for peace. Some things are difficult in the moment, I find, because there are some ideologies that I find very difficult, and we have to be free of the ideologies and do the right way. That is a very difficult challenge, I find, politically, and it's not so easy now. Yeah, it's not so easy. And I have a friend in Croatia who fought a lot for all these things. It's courageous. You need to be courageous for the truth, for the real good things of Europe, and what's dangerous also. You have to really fight for your own identity and stay who you are, not to be eaten up by ideologies. That's really important, I think.
Kako se osloboditi toga straha koji danas, kada promatramo Europu, većina ljudi misli da se Europa razilazi, a ne da se ujedinjuje. Kako se osloboditi toga straha od drugih i drugačijih?
You mean to be free of the fear of others?
Da.
Of other people? I think if we don't see other people as a threat, I will tell you somebody who gave a sentence to the Holy Father. He just gave a big word and he said, he spoke to the refugees of nowadays who are very scary for many. Many are very afraid of what's happening in Europe. And he said, we see you as a problem, as a cost, as a danger. In truth, every life is an opportunity to do something good and to build bridges. And I think if we don't think as others as dangers, we need to be very strong and to love a lot, but love in truth, not just feelings. There's a real decision for somebody else's life and not to be enemies. It's a very deep personal decision, I think. And we can't work on the big thing. We have to do what we can in our life today, with our neighbors, with our family, that's where we can act. We can't change political movements so easily. We can pray, and we need to act where we are. And many people do. So I believe when we don't see others as an enemy, it's a challenge.
Sviđaju po tome pitanju poruke Pape Franje?
Yes, very much so, very much so. I find he's a very big leader for the whole world, for people of goodwill. I really do believe, because he doesn't call just the Catholics, he calls every person to peace, to reconciliation, he spoke in Sarajevo, amazing, about young people, no? What I love very much, he said, I expect of you, generation after the war, he said, to be people whose thoughts, words, feelings and acts are in harmony and peace. Don't think one, speak the next and do the third. Be a person of peace without hypocrisy, be honest and build bridges between people. He said that here in Sarajevo and I thought, good for him. It's the truth for all of us, isn't it?
Jeste imali priliku možda upoznati Papu Franju ili pokojnog Ivana Pavla II?
Not personally. In the big meetings, yes, in the World Youth Days and everything. I may so this year, maybe as a family. Mm-hmm. We may have because of the Habsburg history, we may go, I think, maybe in November. So I don't know, we'll see. I hope. I would love to, yeah. Who knows?
Što se tiče odnosa Pape Franje prema Međugorju, je li tu zauzeo ispravan stav da komisija donese konačnu odluku o Međugorju, pa da konačno to...
Well, I think it's silent for now, but I just saw him speak in the plane after Sarajevo. He was very relaxed. He knows everything. All the popes know, the three popes.
Događa, da.
Oh yeah, my goodness. They know, they're informed, they have access to everything. And I believe that he's taking time to do the right thing in the right moment. He asks for prayers for that, to make the right decisions in the right moment. And I believe, the people who see Our Lady, the visionaries, they don't tell us that this is the biggest worry. But what is important is that we live the message, because that will make a difference. And I think the Church will say its own thing. It hasn't forbidden it, which is a huge thing. No. Because if it had been a real danger for our souls, they would have forbidden it a long time ago. It hasn't been forbidden. There are many personal opinions, but the Church watches, and we can do and live the messages peacefully, and we see.
Kada govorimo o kršćanstvu, kakva je situacija u zapadnim zemljama? Idete u Austriju, u Njemačku, vi ste u biti najviše u Engleskoj. Je li se rađa neki novi duh kršćanstva ili zaista zapadna Europa sve više i više napušta religiju?
Well, we would have to go to many people to speak with them and see in every household, no, in truth. But what I see, there are so many movements of young people, great movements of really prayerful young people. And funny, very often they come out of Međugorje, indirectly or directly, and they are great. And thousands of young people started a new Christian life. And I see also older people. Many churches are full. And then you have areas where it's very materialistic, but that's, again, every person decides. I think we can't say the West, it's a judgment. We have to speak with every person to know that.
Poseban izraz.
Yes, I know that. People say that a lot, no? the Western world. It's true in a way, but I think there are so many individuals and people who are not like that. You know, there may be also, the news are always partial. And therefore I believe a lot of good is happening and many people don't believe, but many do. It's very difficult to have the full picture because it's always people, individual people in the end. We'll see. I mean, I see many young people growing up in a very strong faith now, much stronger than I would have had at their age. Through the Holy Fathers, through the World Youth Days, all these things are huge. That's millions of people. And then...
Poznajete li vi nekoga tko je možda i na vaš nagovor došao u Međugorje, a prije nije imao veze s katoličkom vjerom i onda mu se sve promijenilo u životu kao što je se vama promijenilo?
Oh yeah, I've met many like that, yes. People of different faiths who became Catholics and who got baptized from Međugorje and who started a totally new life, yeah. And I knew people who were sort of more or less Catholic, who started to become the leaders of many, many thousands of people. An Englishman, for example, he came and he had an experience with Jesus and he wanted all the young people to know. So we have two very big movements that came out of him. The Youth 2000 and the Youth Festival in Međugorje. It's one Englishman.
No.
Yeah. You know, many things happen with one. Yeah.
Festival mladih je zaista svake godine sve veći i veći, molitva, pjesma.
Yes, it's wonderful, it's beautiful. Yeah. And young people come and their lives get enriched and change. Yeah.
Vi ste 2009. godine pred mladima u Međugorju pričali o svom iskustvu. Je li to imate običaj svake godine pričati im ili je to bila iznimka?
Just once. I translate or I help.
Da.
I always help, but I don't speak. Not anymore. Others have to speak now.
Gospođo Milona de Rambures, je li tako?
De Rambures, oui.
Von Habsburg, to je puno lakše za izgovoriti.
Yes.
Možda i bliže ovim našim krajevima. Ja vam se iskreno najviše zahvaljujem na ovome razgovoru.
It's a joy. Thank you.
Uspješno smo se razumjeli.
Yes.
Ja se nadam. Vi ste mi poticaj da učim nove jezike.
Yes, good. Go ahead.
Možda dođemo na instrukcije kod vas u Međugorje.
Yes. I'll give you lessons.
Ja se nadam da ćemo se također vidjeti u nekim drugim prilikama. Još je puno tema naravno ostalo za razgovarati, ali kazali smo sve ono najvažnije.
Yes.
Kako Međugorje danas daje plodne, duhovne plodove, kako dobre stvari čini za mnoge ljude.
Yes.
Kako se u Međugorju zapravo sastaje, što ste kazali, cijeli svijet.
Yes, that's the truth. It's great.
I sjajna priča s Marijinim obrocima možda će biti inspiracija bilo kome od nas koji ovo gleda da pokrene nešto slično. Ako ne za cijeli svijet, onda za nekoga u svojoj sredini.
Yes, exactly.
Još jednom veliko hvala na sudjelovanje u emisiji S povodom na NAŠA TV.
It's a joy. Thank you very much for having me. It's great.
Poštovani gledatelji, ja se također nadam da ste i vi uživali u ovoj svjetskoj emisiji, možemo je slobodno tako nazvati, gdje smo prešli od Međugorja, Austrije, Njemačke, Engleske i vratili se opet naravno u naš kraj. Bilo je to još jedno izdanje emisije S povodom. Hvala na pozornosti i doviđenja.